What's up guys, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to create your very own Pet Simulator X UI. In this video I'm going to show you how to do all of the UI elements of Roblox Studio. Unfortunately I'm not going to be able to show you how to do the icons themselves. For example this, and like these three, because I'm not sure how to do those. I suggest just taking them off the internet and putting them into Photopea and then exporting it from there so you can actually change the background transparency. Anyway, let's get into it. So first I'm going to create a screen GUI, and in that screen GUI I'm going to add a frame and scale that frame up. Honestly, I'll just change the property to be 1 1. So it's going to be 1, 0, 1, 0. 1. Then in the properties, change the background transparency to 1. And then I'm going to add the first frame, which is going to be down at the bottom here. And that will be like the pets menu, when you click on this it shows you your pets. So in here I'm gonna add a text button, but before I do anything to the text button I'm going to change the frame, and in the frame I'm going to add a UI UI corner. In the UI corner, go into properties and change it to 1, 0 to make it a circle. Same thing with the button in a second. And in the frame, I'm also going to add a stroke. In the properties, I'm going to change the thickness to 6. I'm going to move this frame up so it's not like thing. Let's check the image. Yeah, it looks about right. 6. And then I have this website which I'm pulling up right now, where you upload an image and it'll tell you the color. So I'm gonna do that for this UI image. I'm gonna bring it over here so you guys can see. Let's make it smaller. So I'm gonna grab the image here, click this, scroll across. Should be somewhere here. Oh, there we go. Here it is. 59,177,252. So if I quickly write that down, 59,177,177,252. So we're gonna go down back into the studio. In studio, gonna go into the frame, properties, background color, and then change that to 59,177,252. And then we're gonna go back onto the color picker, and in here we're gonna find the stroke, write down the numbers of the stroke, which is 286982, and change the stroke color to that. So we're gonna go into UI stroke, properties, color, and change that to 2869 and 82. Looks about right. And yeah, and just to make it so that it's actually clickable, I'm going to put the button here in the middle. In the button I'm going to add a UI corner and change the properties to 1, 0. Wait, must be wrong. Oh no, it's not wrong. I'm going to have to scale it down to actually make it a circle. And now that it's a circle, I'm going to scale it up, but grabbing it by the corner to make it like a grabbing it, make sure it's right. Scale this down a little bit. Scale this one up a little bit. Yep, that seems about right. Then I'm going to go into the properties, and first of all turn the background transparency to 1, and then go scroll down to text. And in text, change the text to nothing. And there we go, that's the first button. I'm going to add the images later. So going back to the top frame, I'm going to change the name of this to main frame, and change the name of this to pets. Then in the main frame, I'm going to add a new frame. I'm going to bring that frame halfway down, scale up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the pets frame, duplicate it, and put it into the frame there. And inside of the frame, I'm going to add UI grid layout, and I'm going to copy the pets. Let's check the image for more reference. So there's 3: hoverboard, teleport, and rebirth. Oh, no, not rebirth. Trade, I think. Whatever this one is. So I'm going to add that. Control D, Control D. It's a bit too big, so I'm going to change the UI grid layout properties. I'm going to change it to maybe 75. It's 175. 75, 75. Well, that's all right. So in the UI grid layout properties, I'm going to change the horizontal alignment to center, vertical alignment to center, and the UI padding to around 15. That's 15 and 1. Change it to 15. Yeah, that looks about right. Then I'm going to go into the frame. Going to go into properties and change the background transparency to 1. Boom. We've got our 3 images here. I'm going to rename the whole frame to menu buttons. And just before we move on, I'm going to copy the text button. I'm going to move it into one of these. I'm going to change. Oh, never mind. It already has it. So that's done. Now we're going to go back into the main frame. And in the main frame, we're going to add another frame, not a text button, another frame. And this frame is going to be all the currencies. So put it in the middle, switch it up. I could stretch it, not move it. Yep. Get 150. Whatever, that's fine. If I scale it across, I'm gonna have to move that later because I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be touching, but I'll sort that out later. I put Explorer back to where it is, and in this frame I'm gonna quickly rename it to currencies. And if we look back at our reference, we have 3 currencies. So in currencies, I'm going to add another frame. This is going to be frame 1. I'm going to quickly change the currencies background transparency to 1 so you can see what you're doing. And then I'm going to change the frame to around the size I want. It's going to be a little bit smaller than this. So going to the properties, I'll change that to 250 and 50 to make it nice and even. Okay, I'm gonna remember those 2 numbers, see if I like it. Looks good. So in the currencies, I'm gonna add a UI grid layout. And I'm gonna change the UI grid layout properties to 250 and 50 like we had before. 250 and 50. Yep. Then I'm going to duplicate this frame. 1, 2, 3. Move the whole currencies frame up. So It's not letting me do that. I need to, before you can move it, you have to change it to back to 0. You actually select it. Control Z. Say about here is good. And go back into properties, change that back to 1. Then in each individual frame, you're going to add a UI corner. Change that to 1, 0. Bring it that nice circle edge. And I'm going to duplicate that. Duplicate twice and put it in the other 2 frames. Now, these frames also have a stroke on them, so I'm going to add a UI stroke. And in the properties, I'm going to change the thickness to around 5, 6. Wait, let me see the reference. Looks like a 5. Change it to 5. I'm going to duplicate that, put in the others. So UI stroke, duplicate twice. Bang, bang. Then in the UI grid layout, I'm going to have to add a padding. So I'm going to go back and add 15 and 15. So 15, 15. Pretty sure that looks about right. Obviously, it's not perfectly on the side. If I look at the reference image, I think they're a little bit too long. So I changed it from 250 to 150. See if how that looks. A bit short, and I need to change the alignment. So if we go horizontal alignment, right, let's go right. Vertical alignment, center. Yep, that's a little bit too short, so I'm pretty sure 200 would be good. $200. Yeah, that looks good. So we're gonna frame. I'm gonna add another frame. I'm gonna add the same UI corner into this new frame. Scale it down quite a bit. It's like a 40, 40. So I'm going to go back into properties here, 0, 40, 0, 40. Seems good, seems good. And put it like in the middle. I'm also going to add a stroke into this. And change that size to 5 as well. That's a bit too thick. I think 4. Yeah, 4 looks good. And then I'm just going to duplicate it. And if we look at our reference, then we can see that only the top 2 have the plus. So we're going to duplicate this. First, I'm going to rename it to plus or buy more, so we know what it is. I'm going to duplicate it and put it into the frame below. Then I'm going to add a text, not text, actually, yeah, text button, my bad. And I'm going to scale that to the size of this. It's going to be 50-50. Or 40-40, my bad. 40. And then I'm going to add a UI corner. Actually, I'm just going to duplicate this and add it to the button. And then in the properties, I'm going to change the background transparency to 1 and the text to a plus. I'm going to change if I change it to text scaled, make sure that looks all right. Text scaled, and I'll go back into properties and look at this font. I'm pretty sure it's just Gotham, but bold. So I'm going to change it to Gotham and change it to bold. Yeah, that's about right. Then change the color to white. Then I'm going to duplicate that, put it into the buy more, and I'm gonna go find the colors. So if we open up this, I'm gonna go over. This is just white. This is the same as the previous one. So all we have to do is go back here, go into the buy more, properties, color, background color, pick screen color, pick this one. Okay, and we go into the next one, buy more, properties, background color, pick screen color, this one. Then we're gonna start adding the text label. So if we go into the first frame, it's this one, close the other ones, frame, add text label. This one's a bit smaller. If I scale it, and this one says Pet Overlord. So if I change the text label to Pet Overlord, to text scaled, text is Pet Overlord, just like that. And the font face, pretty sure it's Fredoka 1. I'm also gonna have to change the background transparency to 1, so it doesn't. And yeah, and I'm gonna have to change the color as well. So in the text label, I'm gonna add a UI gradient. I'm gonna go over to the color picker. I'm gonna find the top one, which is going to be, I can go onto it, 161.203 and 241. 161.203 and 241. And the bottom one will be 159.254.206. 6. If I just take that, go into here, UI gradient, properties, color, 3 dots, and in the first one, the color is going to be 161.203.241. So I'm going to do 161.203 and then 241. And then okay. I feel like if the saturation was a little bit more up, it'll be better. So if I change it to 255, that's more like it. See, make that 200. Don't want it too strong. Okay. And then this one, we change the color to 159, 254, 234, my bad, and 208. Go back here, color, saturation. Let me just do it back to what it was originally. I think that'll look better. So 161.203.241. 3.241. That will look better. I'm going to close that. In the text label, I'm going to change the background transparency. Not my bad, not the background transparency. Text color to a white, so you can actually see. I'm going to move this across. And I'm going to add a stroke. So add UI stroke. And this UI stroke is going to be thickness 3. That's 13. That's 3. I think that's good. I'm going to have to move it a little bit more again. I'm going to find the stroke's color. But it might be the gradient. So if I go into the UI stroke and I control D this and add it into the UI stroke, does that look? Oh, and the UI stroke has to be white for the gradient to show up. Yeah, that does not look like it's supposed to, so it's definitely not that. If I turn that back to black, and I delete this. Delete. If I go back to the color picker and I go onto the gradient, oh, not gradient, the stroke, I find the color of that. It says 839219. So I'm gonna put that into UI stroke. So the UI stroke properties color is gonna be 83 92 119 9. That looks all right. Yep. Then in the same box, I'm gonna add another frame. This frame is going to be the bar, the progress bar. Move it just underneath. Yep, like so. I'm gonna add a UI stroke to it. Stroke. I'm gonna change the size. What is it at now? I want it to be a little bit smaller, like 1, 3, 5, and 15. I think that's all right. So I'm going to go frame size 0,135, 0,15. That looks all right. I'm going to go back into it. To frame, UI stroke, thickness, change it to 3. That's a bit 2. 2 is all right. Then in here, if I go back to the reference image, it's a bit longer and it's a bit shorter. I mean, just shorter. I don't think it's longer. But go back into it. Changed the height from 15 to about 10. See how that looks? That looks a lot better. So I'm going to put that back here. Yep. Then I'm going to, in here, add a new frame. And I'm going to make that frame really small. So I'm going to make it like 2 by 10. So fits the whole thing. If I change the size to 0,2, 0,10, it's going to be right. And if I change the color of that frame to black, just go, why am I doing this? If I just go black, okay. And then this frame, if I just add a UI grid layout, and I change the size from in this to 2 and 10, so 2 and 10, yeah, that's gonna be better. And if I duplicate this, there's 3, and if I just change the padding to be like 15, I don't think that's gonna be enough. See, yeah, that's definitely not enough. Before I change the padding once again, I'm going to change the sort order, fill direction. That's right. Alignment to be centered and centered as well. I just change the padding. Now something better, like 50 maybe. It's a little bit too big. It looks a bit weird. 50s, padding. If I change it to 30. That looks literally perfect. I can see it's sticking out a bit, so I'm going to grab this again. I'm going to move it just a tad bit. There we go. And the final thing I need to do in this one is add a new frame. Actually, no, just add a text label. So in this frame, add text label, scale that all the way down. So it fits the 1%. And in the text label, properties, we go to text to 1%. Boom. Change the scale to yes. And then change the font to the same one that was there. So, nope, not adding anything. Font. Scroll down, change the font to Federica 1. Yep, and then if I just change the color to white, and if I copy the UI gradient, I put it in the text label, and if I change the UI gradient to be applied, actually never mind, I'm gonna have to make a new one, I think. I'll just put this back. If I just close this, I'll flip. Close, I need to pull my properties tab again. If I just delete this and add a new gradient, I don't know why Roblox does this, but for some reason when I did the new gradient, it works. So if I take this and I copy down the old ones, which was 161, 161, 203, 241, 3, 241, and this one was 159, 234, and 206. That's about right. Okay. Wait, parent. Yeah. I don't know why it's doing that. Maybe if I change the background transparency to 1, maybe that will fix it. Oh, yep, my bad. Could have avoided that issue completely if I was just being smart. Anyway, copy the UI stroke from this text label. Yep, Control D, then to that text label. And that looks good. So now if I look at the reference image, I have to add the text label for these two. So if I go into the other tab, this one, and I add a text label, and if I just lapse this text label, scale it up a little bit better. If I could grab that, yep, scale it up, scale it down here and here. If I change the properties of that to text scaled, so text being, if I just make it 25 billion, that'll be alright. I think that's billion. 1, 2, 3, 4. 25 billion. Yep. 25, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Bit destacked in that game. And if I put that there, if I scale it down a little bit more down here, yep, and if I change this text font to be Federica 1, and if I change the text color to be white, I'll change that in a sec, and if I change the background transparency to be 1, so, see, and then going back to this color picker, go into the color of the numbers. That's 105, 248, 254. 105, 248, 254. If I go back into Roblox Studio and text label, properties, color, text color, my bad. It's just going to be 105, comma 248, comma 254. Okay, and then if I add a stroke into this, and the strokes color is going to be, if I go back onto the color picker, stroke, go onto here, find this part. Very fidgety. Yeah, I got it. Okay, now I got it. It's gonna be 24, 86, 100. Go with that. So here, UI stroke properties. It's gonna be color 24, 86, 100, 86 and 100. And if I change the thickness to 3, that looks good. And now the final one we have to do is this one. So I'm pretty sure that one has a gradient. But before we move on to that, I've just realized that these two above have a different stroke. So if I go to the main stroke, well, first I'm going to go here to this and find the stroke of this. The color, that's gray. That's not what we want. My days, this is so fidgety. 28, 69, 82. And if we go to the stroke, color 28, 69, 82. 28, 69, 82. Okay, that looks a bit off. If I make that darker, let me go back onto the color picker. I need to make sure I got the right thing. Yeah, 28, 69, 82. What if I just changed the button one as well? Maybe that would make it look better. 28, 69, 82. Oh, with the saturation of 255. What? And then if I change the by more strokes color to the same thing, so I go here, screen color, that one. Okay, if I go back into the top frame, UI stroke, properties, color, pick screen color, and if I go into buy more, UI stroke, properties, color, and pick screen color again, I just select this one. Yep, and that's it. So the last part, before I have to make all the icons, will be to go into this frame, add a text label. Text label to be too small. I'll move it across. And if I go to properties, background transparency to 1, not 0.98, 1. If I go into the text, it's going to be 206. Yep, with the font being Frederica 1. That's Gotham Frederica 1. And then text scaled. I'm also going to change the alignment to left, I mean right, how bad, right, and move this across so it fits a bit better. Yep, like that. Might have to move this one across as well, just so it fits. Yep, and I'm going to add a stroke. Pretty sure this is just black. And in here, I'm going to add a UI gradient as well. It's a grid layout. That's not what we want. We want the gradient. So UI gradient. And I'm going to go into color picker. Go into this. Find the top color. which might as well be this. So if I write that down, 248 200 103. And for the bottom color, it's dark orange, so it's going to be 255 134 83 38. My bad, can't read. So yeah, go back into Roblox. Gradient, color, 3 dots. This one's gonna be 248 200 103. And this one's gonna be 255 134 38. 255 134 38. Boom. Okay. Close. Oh, gotta change the color to white. I forgot about that. Text color white. Boom. And the stroke, change the size to 3. This 3. And maybe if I just scale the frame up a little bit, make it a little bit bigger. It's a little bit too big. I'm trying to get that one in the middle. I mean, I guess that's alright. Well, that's better. Okay, yeah, that's perfect. And now I'm gonna go into Photopea and make some of these icons. Well, probably not make them. I might just take a picture and just copy it. But I'll get back to you when I've made all of the icons. Okay, so now that you've got all of your icons, you're going to come into the currencies frame, to the top frame, and you got it. I'm going to add an, actually, sorry, my bad, not the top frame, the middle frame. And you got to add an image label. Image label, boom. Then before you resize it, you're going to go into your properties tab and then scroll down to image. In image, you're going to click the gems image. This is the gems. And then you're going to go up and change the background transparency to 1. Then you're going to grab it and move it in here and resize it to what you want. So I think if I go into the properties and change the size to like a 0,40, 0,40. Let me just look at the reference. It's a little bit off the picture, so if I just do this and I grab the image label, a little bit off. Seems a little bit bigger, so I'll change in the properties tab to maybe 50. See, boom. Like that. If I grab it again, okay, maybe this is a little bit better. And if I add a UI stroke, right, and if I go into the properties, apply stroke, contextual. Okay, that doesn't work. I guess it's got to stay like that then. Okay, so now that you've got your gems done, you're gonna go over to the bottom frame. You're gonna Control D this frame and put it into the bottom one. I'm just gonna change in the properties, image, and then change it to this thing, and you're gonna scale it up. Boom. I just quickly make that a little bit. If I go into properties and change it to 60/60, I think that'll be good. to 0,60, 0,60. Yeah. I'll close that now. Close it. Yeah, that looks alright. Then I just have all of these ones over here to do. So I'm going to close the currencies, go into the menu buttons. Now in the menu buttons, it just says pets. So I'm going to rename this one to hoverboard. Board, boom. And in hoverboard, I'm going to add the image label. I'm going to perfectly scale that up to be here. And then image label properties, change the image to the hoverboard. Then background transparency to 1. Boom. It's a little bit too big, but scale that down a little bit more. Yep, that looks alright. If I just check. Yep, pretty good. I just control D this one twice and put it into here and into, oh, not this one. Actually, it can stay here. Could control D it one more time and I put it into this one. So this one's not actually going to be pets. This one's going to be teleport. Boom. We're going to teleport image label images and change that to the image you want. Just a teleporter. Scale that up now to make sure it fits because different image, different size. I need to make that both the same. Seems about right. Now the last one is going to be called auto settings. Okay, now for this one, I couldn't get the exact image, but it's going to be good enough. It shows what it needs to show. And it's way smaller. Pet Sim. So like that. Just like so. And then finally, we got this last image label. If I close the menu buttons, go into pets, start last image label. I also couldn't get the exact image for this one, but I got this cat. Should be fine. I just change the rotation in this one to 10 degrees. That looks a bit better. This one looks a bit scuffed. I'm sorry for that. I could not find. I was looking for ages. And that looks alright. And finally, we just got to add the last 2 text labels. So in here, we're going to add a text label. Bring it down. Here. Scale it up. Or scale it down. I say. If I move this. Down, then properties. Go down all the way down to text. Text scaled. Text will be 10 out of 10. With the font being Frederica 1. And text color being white. But let me just check text color. Yeah, white with the background. Same thing. So text color white. Okay. Properties, background transparency 1. That's text, not bad. So we're going to go up to background. Background transparency 1. And then finally add a stroke. So text label, add UI stroke. And change the UI stroke. Properties, thickness to 3. 5. And the color to this one. And if I just grab the text label and move it down, and I move the whole thing a little bit more up. Boom. I grab the image label, move that up a little bit as well. That's alright. And the last thing now is in the menu buttons. Second to last, but I just thought something new. Hoverboard, add text label. And that will be just a queue up here. So if I grab that, grab this, properties, background transparency equals, that's text. Oh, fine. It's on text, so let's just do text. Text is just a capital Q with the Frederick 1 font. Text color is white. And the background transparency is 1. And then, oh, forgot to change it to scaled, so we're going to go down into the text label, properties, scaled, turn that on, and then text stroke, we're going to add that, add UI stroke, the properties of that, color, pick screen color, this one, if I look at the reference, it's a bit smaller, so I'm going to change the size, okay. That seems about right. UI stroke, properties, thickness, 3, 4, 5. 5 is alright. And boom. And then if I just go into currencies and I quickly move it to where it's supposed to be, so background transparency to 0 quickly. I just grab that. Just move it to like a good place so you can see everything. Move that a little bit tighter. So we just got a little more space. I just grab that again. In and boom. And then finally, background transparency back to 1. And there you have it, guys. I just close this. This will be your Pet Simulator X GUI. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If this video gets 10 likes, I will actually make all of like the inventory UIs, if you could say. So when you click this, it'll open up a UI. When you click this, it'll open up a UI. When you click this and this, open up a UI. So I can do that if we get 10 likes. Also, if you want to get any UIs done, hit me up on Discord. I'll put my link in the comments. If you guys want to hit me up and we can talk. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.